Hello everyone and welcome to the Green Man channel. Hope you're doing good and well. So it's time for my third album review of the weekend, and this time I'm talking about Sharon Van Etten and the Attachment Theory. This album was released on Friday the 7th of February via Jaguar, and the album is 10 tracks and just under 45 minutes in length. So the name Sharon Van Etten has been in my periphery for quite a long time. I've kind of had that name buzzing around me, and I've always wanted to check out her music actually, because I've just been vaguely interested, and I hear lots of good things about her. She's also starred in TV series like The OA, for example. She has guest starred in Twin Peaks. She has collaborated with Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age. So if you're a Queens of the Stone Age fan, maybe you know the name Sharon Van Etten as well, because they performed a cover song of a Nick Lowe track called What's So Funny About Peace, Love and Understanding in May of 2020. So there are lots of reasons I feel I should know this artist, and this time she's collaborating with her band, or giving them the credit in the album title by calling this album Sharon Van Etten and the Attachment Theory. I've heard lots of good things about this album up front before I even listened to the album as well, and that was, I admit, one of the things that made me want to kind of listen to this. It has got a sound which is very reminiscent of those 80s bands. I get aromas of Susie and the Banshees, of Talk Talk, of Joy Division, and I'd say actually the late 70s, kind of that whole post-punk era of music. Is ever present, I think, in spirit, if not always in delivery, on every single song pretty much here on this record. At times I hear Sharon using vocal melodies that remind me a lot of Jim Kerr of Simple Minds and some of the songs he used to sing, and the way he used to sing those kind of in a sort of free-flowing style that he used to have, while still managing to make his vocals very memorable. That was something about Jim Kerr, is like his vocal lines always feel so free-flowing, yet they'd be very, very memorable at the same time. So let's talk about some of the tracks on here. You've got Live Forever, which is the opener, which is exactly what I was just talking about with Jim Kerr and his style of vocals, and how Sharon Van Etten's vocal lines here remind me a bit of his. Really enjoy that track. It's kind of darkly beautiful, shows a certain vulnerability, which I think comes across in the next song as well, in Afterlife, which was a pre-release single. Fantastic song, this one. Really encourage you to check this one out as maybe the first song to try and test whether or not you think you might like the album, because it's a really good track, very memorable. Nice electro-enhanced moments and beautiful extended vocal lines, once again, from Sharon Van Etten. Another song I thought was really good was Idiot Box, which is actually the third track on the album, so I'm talking about every single track so far. I won't talk about every single track, though, for the whole review, but I really enjoyed this one. This is kind of thematically on modern life and people being trapped in their own kind of smartphone worlds. I think that's kind of what she's referring to here. And it's a really good song, good bass line here, good bass work from bassist Deborah Hoff, and a thoroughly enjoyable track here as well, Idiot Box. Another song I really did enjoy was actually Trouble, another album highlights quite early on in the album, and some great harmonies, clever subtle developments here, and groovy bass work once again from Deborah Hoff here too. If anything though, this album I thought kind of after the first 4 or 5 tracks slightly fell off for me, didn't quite kind of give me the same impact, but it was still very, very accomplished and still very good. And I think you get a couple of livelier tracks towards the end of the album, which whilst I'm not as keen on as the earlier songs, they still do work really well in the context of the record. And I think for some people you'd welcome this, because it kind of takes a break from the slightly darker tracks almost, and gives you some livelier stuff towards the end. You know, like for instance, I Can't Imagine Why You Feel This Way, which has some solid grooves, the more 80s vibes with the synth work that Sharon continues to sing in an illustrious way. And one thing I really like about her vocals as well is, although they sound very vulnerable sometimes, and even the touch strain, there's a control about them in every song on this record too. She's like a very controlled vocalist, I think, despite, you know, when she really kind of is, you can tell she's really pushing her vocal delivery. I Want You Here ends this album on a real high for me, and I really enjoyed that track. And I'm again going to reference Jim Kerr, Simple Minds. Just the style of this song reminded me a lot of a Simple Minds track in a good way. It kind of builds atmospherically, also like a song might on U2's The Unforgettable Fire too, and wouldn't be out of place on that record. And in fact, maybe reminds me a little bit of you know, of one of the songs from that album. And a great way to finish this, what I think is quite actually, I've listened to this several times, and despite the competition coming at me this weekend from other bands and some really great releases of which I've reviewed already, this actually kind of stands out a little bit. It stands apart as kind of its own thing. It's really chill, like I say in the kind of thumbnail. It's just a really chill album. It's got a vibe about it that I really like, and therefore I'm giving it an 8.5 out of 10. Which means it wins out of the 3 album reviews I guess I've done so far. Let me know what you thought of this one. Did you enjoy it as much as I did? Did you get the same sort of vibes that I got, those post-punk vibes? Let me know in the comments. Otherwise, hope you enjoyed the review. Don't forget to drop a like and a sub, support the content of the channel. And until next time, bye for now.